Thank you to eufy for sponsoring a portion of this video.
So for under $150, this Vizio is the #1 selling TV on all of Amazon. But I thought we had to compare it, kind of benchmark it. So meet this guy. It's a TCL QM8. It's QD Mini LED. It's the #1 rated TV on Best Buy. And then as we got into it, I was like, 2 didn't quite seem like enough. So meet this. This is the Samsung S90D. It's a QD OLED TV and is the #1 rated TV according to Rettinger.com. And I went into this thinking I knew who the winner was going to be, but as we got into the detail, it was pretty surprising. Let's talk about it.
All right, so I kind of want to explain how I did the comparison. I'm going to talk about like top end, low end, and medium end. So just so everybody knows, the top end, I'm talking about OLED and its various versions of that technology. On the low end, I'm talking about LED. And on the mid range, I'm generally going to be talking about mini LED technology. And I'm not going to be comparing these TVs to one another. I don't think that would be fair at all. So instead, I'm going to break each one down into 3 basic categories. Picture quality, features, and then value for the price. And this won't be like a deep dive on each set, mainly because I don't know, probably not sitting here want to watch a 45-minute video on these 3 TVs, but I do want to hit the major points I think most people will care about with these sets, so just maybe help you figure out what kind of TV tech is going to be right for you. All right, let's jump right in. And I want to start with the best-selling TV on Amazon, at least as of this filming. The rankings tend to change on almost a daily basis. I did not expect it to be a 40-inch LED TV from Vizio, but when you see the price, I think it makes a lot of sense. And I tested and had the privilege of testing some of the biggest and best TVs on the market on a nearly a daily basis, and I'm kind of used to that at this point. Sometimes it's easy to forget that kind of personal preferences and standards for what kind of TV I own are not the same for everybody. And you hear Vizio's name, there's probably some security concerns that pop up in most people's minds. They were recently acquired by Walmart at the end of 2024, so presumably those security concerns won't be there anymore. And I think a lot of people don't care about how many HDMI 2.1 ports a TV has, don't care if it has MLA tech inside, or have a preference between HDR10 or Dolby Vision. I think people are buying a TV just want one that looks good out of the box. It's not gonna break the bank and is not a pain to kind of set up or put up anywhere. This TV is the epitome of all of those things. The picture quality for an LED TV is actually really good. It still has the downsides of LED technology, like representing blacks, kind of really dark gray. Viewing angles kind of suck, so if you're sitting right in front of the TV, it looks fine, but if you're off like a little bit, it's gonna wash it out. And overall color depth is just like okay. But in the LED TV space, the picture quality on the set, it's actually pretty great. It's actually a lot brighter too than I was expecting. Not insanely bright, but bright enough to look good in a room with lots of windows. The colors are pretty vibrant and have surprisingly minimal blooming in areas of high contrast. Where you do notice a sacrifice is in its resolution. It is only 1080p, so when you're watching movies or shows, a lot of kind of intricate details, you'll probably notice that lower resolution. And that's the main reason why this TV is 40 inches. If you want any larger than that, the lower resolution I think would be really obvious. But if the 1080p image is not a deal breaker for you, the picture quality is really good for an LED TV. But a place where this TV doesn't make a lot of sacrifices is actually with features. You're still getting 2 HDMI ports, one being HDMI ARC. Now granted, each HDMI maxed out at 60 Hertz, but 1080p screen, it's not gonna really matter. This TV does shine, I think, is in the software. It's got all the built-in apps you could possibly need with Vizio Home, which I think is a pretty underrated tvOS as far as like the layout and stuff goes. We got all the things that you would need. AirPlay is there, Chromecast is there. You can pair Bluetooth headphones if you want. And when it comes to apps and software features, it does have about everything that any top tier TV would have, and certainly has all the streaming apps that most people care about. But obviously you can just plug in a set-top box and avoid all that if you want. Now, who is this TV for? It's definitely for those looking, I think, for a really good deal, but especially great for somebody who might want to use it as a big monitor for a computer. It would be awesome for spare bedroom, kids room, college dorm, basically anyone who doesn't want or have room for a giant TV, wants a decent picture for an absolute steal of a price. So is this the best TV out there? No, definitely not. For a TV that's less than $150, it punches way above its price point. We had planned, I'm gonna take a break here. We had planned out some like fun introduction to go over to talk about this video sponsor, the eufy FamiLock S3 Max. I'm not gonna do that. This product is way too good and I wanna just like get into it. This is hands down the coolest, most futuristic, you think you have the force door locks that I have ever seen. Even if you're not in the market for new door locks, you have to check out what eufy is doing. Okay, so first it's using palm vein recognition. I have never used that before. I've never seen it before. It seems like you have the force, you hold your hand over it, and it will unlock in 0.1 seconds with a 99.9999999% first time pass rate. It sets up insanely easy. So the palm vein recognition, I know it sounds different, but it's actually like way more secure than fingerprints because it's actually a touch-free system and it's harder to fake. So the palm vein data is then stored completely locally. So the system is not affected by the hand surface. Maybe you've had like dry hands or wet hands or just your fingerprint just don't work on fingerprint sensors. This kind of eliminates any of that worry. It's also really good for older folks or kids that might have weak fingerprints. Then on top of that, there's also a camera built in. It's a 5 megapixel 2K resolution with HDR camera. It's got progressive visions. The camera has been totally revamped and now is 150 degree horizontal and 150 degree vertical and 180 degree diagonal view. So we can see in the day, see in the night, pretty much everything. The back of the door lock has a screen so you can see who's there. And there's also, if you want, a doorbell built into this thing too. One of the biggest pains about them, the question I always get is like, what if the battery dies? eufy built in redundancy. So first they gave it a rechargeable with USB-C 15,000 milliamp rechargeable battery. And also they come in the box 4 AAA batteries. So you've got power from either way. They called this their power duo, which I thought was cool. And like everything, there's AI built in. What they're using are dual sensors to reduce false triggers by 95%. Also, they say it can track solicitors as well. This thing was absolutely incredible. It was easy to install. And if all of that wasn't enough, it also can integrate with pretty much every smart home platform. It's got Matter supports, whether you use Google, you're in Apple's ecosystem, you want to use Alexa, it really doesn't matter. And to keep everything like secure, it's got commercial grade certifications, so you don't have to worry about things getting hacked. It's also crazy fast with Wi-Fi 6 built in. It's also got smart lock, so you can set it sort of how long you want it to automatically lock. eufy hit probably the biggest home run that I have ever seen in the smart lock world with their eufy FamiLock S3 Max. It has, you can like literally check every box of something that you would want. There's only supposed to be a 60-second thing that I've been talking about. I went longer because I think this product is actually really stinking good. If you want to check it out, link will be down below. All right, so for the next set, let's take a considerable jump up in TV tech and meet the TCL QM8. It's their QD mini LED TV. And while I'm not comparing this to the Vizio directly, just know the difference between these two technologies is miles apart. So the step up in picture quality is ginormous. With mini LED, you are getting really close to near perfect blacks. Not like OLED level, but it is like right on the fringes of that. And that's thanks largely to the miniaturization of the LEDs in the backlight. So the TV can represent scenes with kind of higher contrast and maintain higher levels of brightness and color depth. The QD portion of this TV stands for quantum dots. You see that used a lot of places in the TV world. Essentially, it's a layer of crystals within the TV that makes colors a bit more vibrant, brighten up the image even more. And the QM8 from TCL, I think, is probably the best example of the specific kind of mini LED TV tech going right now. And the image, straight out of the box, is absolutely stunning. And usually we'll go in and I'll tweak a bunch of settings to get the right picture, but really out of the box, you don't have to do much. You can, and you can kind of tweak things a little bit, but if you just take this TV out, hang it on a wall, you will be really impressed with how good it looks. I've done a really nice job with sort of the pre-tuning of it. And TV prices obviously change all the time, but as of this filming, the 65-inch version is less than $900. And to kind of explain it, a TV less than $1,000 today has no reason to look this good. And first of all, this is one of the brightest TVs I've ever tested. And just to show how good it is, here it is next to a 98-inch OLED M3 by LG, which depending on when you buy it, is around a $30,000 TV. It is incredibly impressive. And this is actually TCL's 2024 TV. The 2025 I haven't seen yet are supposedly brighter. And at its peak HDR brightness, it can get to around 5,000 nits. And if that number means nothing to you, just know that the average modern phone screen gets to around 1,000 to 1,500 nits. So it's an insanely bright TV. But obviously it takes more than brightness to get great picture quality. The vibrancy of the color representation on this set is bonkers good, while also staying really color accurate. I could not detect any blooming and high contrast scenes in anything I put on this, whether it was YouTube, 4K movie, or game, everything I thought looked incredible. It also supports both Dolby Vision and HDR10 Plus formats, which means you don't have to really touch many picture settings at all. But there are, again, options if you want to dial it in. You're also getting really top tier features this set as well. You've got 4 HDMI ports, 2 of which are HDMI 2.1, but out of those 2 ports, one supports 120 hertz and the other supports 144 hertz. So that should make a lot of, I think, PC gamers out there really happy. You've got Google TV built in, so you'll find that on most TVs today. So you got all the streaming apps and Chromecast and AirPlay abilities that you would want. And all that stuff I think I've expected from TCL. I've reviewed their TVs in the past and they're always generally really good. What I did not expect was the sound from this TV. So its speakers are based on Dolby Atmos, and not only does it give this TV really good sound, it also gets really loud. And obviously I think the way to go is a sound bar for about every TV out there. But if you were on a budget or didn't have the room for a sound bar or surround system, I actually think you'd be really good with the sound coming out of the set. And lastly, who is this set for? Honestly, if it is in your price range, this is a set for absolutely everyone. For the price, you're getting one of the brightest TVs on the market with incredible image quality. You get great features, and if you're a cinema buff, a sports fan, a gamer, someone who just wants to watch news or YouTube, this TV is really good for pretty much everything. It doesn't matter if you have tons of windows in your house, this TV is bright enough to overpower any amount of light that might be in your room. But especially for those if you want to go huge on TV size, you do it here for a really reasonable price. I should mention there's an 85-inch version of the set if you want to go giant, that is about $2,000. This TV is pretty much perfect for absolutely everyone. But if you're somebody out there who wants the absolute best, there are TVs that are better. And if you're looking for the perfect TV, or at least one that sort of professional TV reviewers tend to agree is the best, then the next TV might be for you. All right, so finally we are at the peak of TVs, or at least the best reviewed TV, again as of this filming. So meet the Samsung S90D QD OLED. So it takes the same quantum dot tech that TCL used, but adding it to an OLED panel. So it means you're gonna get incredibly vibrant colors, bright whites, inky blacks. You also get the benefits of nearly infinite contrast levels, all making for a jaw-dropping picture quality. You also get HDR10 on this set, and if there was one problem with it, Dolby Vision is completely missing from it. Samsung also relies, surprise, surprise, heavily on AI to help up-res images and optimize scenes sort of look their best in real time. I think while the S90D does have deep picture customization available to you, it goes like out of its way to reduce or even eliminate the need for you to go into those picture settings and the menus at all. When I get a TV, I usually spend a lot of time going through the picture settings and carefully dialing in the image quality. But there wasn't much of a need to do that here. No matter what I was watching, streaming, playing, you need to know exactly how to adjust those settings so every scene popped, and it was doing it on its own. However, there's a major downside to a lot of OLEDs, especially ones that rely heavily on AI picture adjustments, and that's called ABL. It stands for Auto Brightness Limiter. It's like a quote unquote feature that's just sort of inherently part of OLED TVs. Some are just more apparent than others. So when the screen will dramatically dim when it senses inactivity on the screen, it's a way to preserve the life of the diodes and energy consumption. It doesn't happen often when I'm watching like shows, movies, or gaming, but it does happen from time to time when there's large areas that are very bright on the screen. The whole image dims for those scenes, and it is pretty aggressive, especially on this set. So while this TV does get super bright, it does not always stay that way 100% of the time, and there's no way, at least that I found, to turn that feature off entirely. But aside from that complaint, which is minor or major depending on your use cases, everything else about this set is great, especially if you're a gamer. It has 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, all capable of 144 hertz, which is insane. If you don't have a PC or a console, S90D still gives you ways to game, It's got Xbox Game Pass, NVIDIA GeForce Now, so you can just stream those games right from the TV if you have a subscription. No set-top box required. You also have Samsung's really full-featured Tizen OS here, which is fast and snappy, and of course all the streaming apps that you would want. Sound on the set is also really good. I don't think it comes anywhere close to the TCL QM8. Definitely like picking up a soundbar for this one is the way to go. And the design I think is sleek and probably one of Samsung's best yet. As for who this set is for, it's mainly for gamers, in my opinion. While the picture quality is undeniably amazing for absolutely anything you put on it, the difference maker between something like this and say the LG G4 is the extra gaming features. And that's why it got the nearly universal amazing reviews it did. It just does everything a tad bit better than their competition. It's a little bit brighter than other top tier OLEDs out there. It's a little faster. It does AI slightly better at the scene optimization, and it does it all actually a little cheaper than its primary competitors. I can't imagine a world where anybody would be upset at the set in their house. Again, a few knocks on it. The aggressive ABL and lack of Dolby Vision, I think are deal breakers, at least for me, especially on the Dolby Vision side. But for a lot of people out there that don't pay attention to those things, this TV hits pretty much every mark. And it's hard to go through and figure out which TV is best, but out of going for sort of the high end, the low end, and the mid end, I think what TCL has done with their QM8 is probably the perfect TV set for pretty much everybody. That TCL set has something for everybody out there, for gaming, for movies, for streaming. The picture quality looks really, really good at a price point that is incredibly competitive. And obviously there are a bunch of other TVs in these categories. Just going on reviews and the highest rankings, it's kind of interesting to sort of see how these stacked up. And the first impression is always gonna be the high end's the way to go. In this case, save some money, go for the mid-range. And if you wanna use that extra money, go for the biggest one you can get.